Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 55 in the book of Genesis. We're in Genesis chapter 8. You're going to turn there in a little bit. We're going to start in verse number 1. And I'm going to title today, I Believe in the Ark, because we're in this section where God is remembering Noah. And the pertinent question is going to end up being is, will we believe in the God who is remembering Noah, in the God who rescues with the ark? So today's goal is to get to the point where we say, I believe in the ark. So we have this very sweet sentiment of God. That is, he didn't forget our great-grandfather, Noah. And by that, we mean God is thinking of him and acting on his behalf. He's acting for the benefit of Noah. One of the reasons that books are often better than movies is you get to hear the interior life of the characters. And this is no exception to that, as we get to hear the interior life of the Lord, where he says that he remembers Noah. So he tells us what he's thinking as Noah is in the ark and before he's in the ark. So I remember, it means you're going to get some divine help here. And the help is he's going to get this divinely helpful ark, a particular rescue vehicle. He's going to also give Noah a prediction, a prophecy that a flood is coming, so get ready for it. And then he gives him a promise is that at the end of it, when it's over, I'm going to make a covenant with you. And he better make a covenant with this, because that's dependent on his faithfulness, because so far in human history, we messed up on generation number 1 and generation number 2, etc. So, you might not even make it to lunch without being sinful. So this concept where God remembers Noah and God intervenes and God helps, it's so important. All right, chapter 8, verse 1. But God remembered Noah and all the beasts and all the livestock that were with him in the ark. And God made a wind blow over the earth, and the waters subsided. The fountains of the deep and the windows of the heavens were closed. The rain from the heavens was restrained, and waters receded from the earth continually. At the end of 150 days, the waters had abated. And in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. And the waters continued to abate until the 10th month. And in the 10th month, on the first day of the month, the tops of the mountains were seen. So to stop the flood, 2 things had to happen. The fountains of the deep, where the water came from below, had to abate, and the windows of heaven had to be restrained. And you get this picture that this wrath of God was extensive and justified and ongoing and epic in size, and it almost had to be restrained to stop. Remember what justice is. Justice is getting exactly what you deserve. So that's a flood. It's appropriate. It's justified. Mercy is getting less than you deserve. And that's the restraining that we're hearing about in today's story. Restraining, being withheld, the fact that the judgment stopped, the water subsides, and the fountains abate. And then tomorrow we're actually going to get to grace, which is getting more than you deserve, which is this covenant. So the unfailing covenant keeper with always failing covenant people. So God is this unfailing covenant keeper who makes a covenant with an always failing covenant people. And it points the way toward substitutionary atonement and payment for sins and this plan that God has. All right, let's talk about timing for a second. So the waters prevail for 150 days after the start of the flood. Then they hit Mount Ararat. And then they abate while the ark is touching Mount Ararat. And within that second 150 days, a couple of events happen. That is, other mountains become visible. He sends out a bird, which is not a dove. Surprise, it's a raven that goes out. Then at the 9-month mark from the start of the flood, he sends out the dove. There's what's always pictured. That's dove number 1. The dove comes back. 9 months plus 7 days, the dove number 2, probably the same kind of dove, returns with an olive branch. And then dove number 3 is 9 months and 14 days, and that dove doesn't return. Then the earth is going to dry for another 70 days, and in a year and 10 days, Noah leaves the ark. So he's in the ark for more than a year. Listen in, this is verse 8:6. At the end of 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark that he had made and sent forth a raven. It went to and fro until the waters were dried up from the earth. Then he sent forth a dove from him to see if the waters had subsided from the face of the ground. But the dove found no place to set her foot. Interesting, it's a female dove. And she returned to him in the ark, for the waters were still on the face of the whole earth. So he put out his hand and took her and brought her into the ark with him. He waited another 7 days and again sent forth the dove out of the ark. The dove came back to him in the evening, and behold, in her mouth was a freshly plucked olive leaf. I think she's building a nest. So Noah knew that the waters had subsided from the earth. Then he waited another 7 days, sent forth the dove, and she did not return to him anymore. All right, so let's draw some conclusions here today. This is a real story with real details of a real guy using real tools that he had, which included a raven and a dove, or a couple of doves. Secondly, the specificity give credence to the story. I just love that it's a raven, and I love what he does with the dove, and I love that we even have the gender of the dove identified. So the point is if this is a myth, this is a creation myth, a flood myth, then its lessons are optional and not authoritative. So I hope today that you can entrust yourself to the story, and in doing so, entrust yourself to the one who Noah is entrusting himself to in the story. So I'd love for us to be able to say at the end of this episode of learning about Noah and the flood and the ark, is to say, I believe in the flood. And then I believe in the rescue. And in a sense, let's say in our heart towards God, yielding to God, and say, I believe in the ark. Thanks for listening.